يلعب لها كرة طويلة للأمام باتجاه دروجبا.
Here's Rooney looking to Van Persie.
Guerrero! Gerrard! He's got it! Oh, Steven Gerrard!
دروجبا!
Find Van Persie on the volley. Oh! Robin Van Persie.
Well, g'day guys, and welcome to the first episode of TBTC FC on the camera now. It's Wednesday here. Vangeli, how have you been, mate? You're joining me again. Very happy to be here.
I'm pumped as.
Pumped as. So basically, guys, as you should know, if you checked out the first podcast that we have on iTunes now, just search The Bounce That Counts and follow the prompts and you'll find our podcast on there. The more obviously you guys download it, the higher up the list it will go, especially in the sports section. But remember guys, now on Mondays we have the Bounce Accounts review of the weekend's results in all of football. Then Wednesday we have this lovely show where we have special guests joining us on the couch. And then on Friday we also have the preview of the weekend's football action. That will be found also on iTunes. So you can't find those two first episodes on YouTube, but this one here on a Wednesday you can. Ellis, are you excited for this new format?
I've got energy pumping through my veins.
You could be a bit more enthusiastic.
I'm just being camera appropriate.
Yeah, camera appropriate.
Or else it could, could get a
bit too much. So basically, you can find this Wednesday episode also, like I said, on iTunes. So if you guys are running in the car, long car trips, you don't have to find us on YouTube. But basically, Vangeli, over this episode, we'll be going through a lot of key things that happened over the weekend's results in football. So obviously there's some big happenings in the EPL, also Asian Cup that we want to talk about, and we'll start with the Asian Cup. But also guys, you've got to remember to get into contact with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also on our website, that is thebounceaccounts.com.au. The link is right here and also down below.
That website will be getting into groove very soon.
It'll be pumping with some serious editorials from Ellis. He'll be doing one about each weekend of the EPL action, won't you, mate?
Yep.
Winners and losers, the best parts of the weekend's action in the EPL, whereas I'll be doing a couple of previews and just other opinion pieces on there, and also some more video content outside of this weekly Wednesday episode. Remember guys, in that section on the website, go to the Contact Us page, and you can send us an email direct to our email account. If you're also interested in joining the Bounce Accounts, maybe writing for us on the website, please send us an email through to there. But firstly, Vangeli, we're going to start off with the Asian Cup.
Yep. Now,
it's been great for Australian football. We won't talk about Australia straight up, but right now Japan's game last night was sold out.
Yeah.
So that's great. It's the fourth game of the Asian Cup that's sold out. How much do you think, maybe even the product in Australia is
tonight, by the way?
Yeah, well, it's looking, this is released on Wednesday, Ellis, if you got the gist. Ellis is on top of everything here.
Sorry.
You see what I've done there?
It was a cracking game, yeah.
Oh god. And this is episode 1, and this is what I've had to go through.
Hey, we always start with a bang.
Yeah, so yeah, it's been 4 now, in the group stage that is, there's been 4 sellouts, what is exceptional, especially at a big stadium, was at Melbourne, so it's 33,000 or
Melbourne Rectangular.
A great stadium that it is. Sold out with 30,000, what's excellent. How do you think the Australian public has got around the Asian Cup?
It could have been more attendances, especially in Canberra. But I feel as though it has been a success overall. We had the Palestine coach come out the other day and say that he thinks we are a world-class
country.
We've got, in terms of sports, a sports stage. You know, we're really hospitable. Very good facilities, fantastic stadiums, very appropriate crowds. And so he said that he thinks that we're a very good candidate to host future World Cups. So great raps from someone like that who's got no allegiance to Australia whatsoever. He even invited the Socceroos to come play friendly in Palestine. So that's just an example as to how well we've covered this tournament. Because I mean, you've had past Asian Cups in places like Vietnam where it's not a fantastic spectacle at all.
This has been the most watched World Cup.
Asian Cup.
Asian Cup. Sorry, by far of just attendances, and I think it's great that the Australian public, and this is what we're thinking now, especially as A-League fans. Where are some of these fans that don't come to A-League games. Well, and obviously it's your allegiance to your country, so there's probably more people. This is just a generic, like the Chinese population would go, oh, China's playing in Melbourne, or we'll travel from Adelaide to, I don't know, Newcastle or something to watch the Chinese team play. But why aren't we connecting with these fans?
The key there, Will, is the fact that you've got a lot of Iraqi fans, Iranian fans in Melbourne, like we saw it for Iran's first game, where they'll come out and watch football when it's something to do with Iran. So if you've got the Iranian national team playing in a place like Melbourne, which has, I think it's like 80,000 Iranians in Australia, and most of them are in Melbourne. So if you've got the Iran national team coming out, of course they're going to come out and watch. What do we take from that in terms of the A-League? We need to make far more use of the Asian marquee, which is not happening, and not just big name players from Japan. Bring in a random Iraqi or someone from these countries which are, you know, hugely represented in Australia, to get that section of fans out and get behind the A-League, because, you know, they're not just going to come out and watch a random A-League team. They're not like that. That's
what I was going to say. Is, do you think that obviously there's been talk, and this has actually came up again, that the PFA were against it, moving to 4 from 5 marquee or international players. I'm even thinking more pushing towards having this is the new collective bargaining agreement, pushing towards a larger squad with maybe 7 players, but you have your 5, but you have to have 1 Asian player in your squad from 100% from all of that. Like, so you, like we're saying, it doesn't have to be Japanese or Chinese or someone. Go out and you can find some stars over there, and they are paid outside the salary cap. Straight up, not inside. They're outside the salary cap. So it's up to the team then to, if they want to chase a big name guy, and obviously they might get paid more over in their home countries. But if you can chase someone and, get someone from their national side, I reckon it can really boost the A-League.
Well, you look at, I keep referring to Iran because they're a good side, but you look at their team, a lot of good players in that team. No one knows about them, okay, but they've got a lot of good players in that team, and you could lure one of those guys to come and play here. You'd be paying them a quarter of what someone like Heskey or Del Piero is earning, and you'd still get a huge section of fans out every week just to watch that one player. So it needs to be invested in.
Last thing we'll say on this, but once you get that fan group, so you might get the Iranians in Melbourne, and it might be for, say, probably more likely for Victory than probably City, because they'll be looking for bigger name players. And they'll probably, City would try and find a Japanese or someone with a bigger market. But if you for one season, if that player and then that fan group falls in love with the club of Victory, you might have fans for life. It might even just be another 500 that you get to each game. They tell their mates. It is a growing thing. That's what the A-League needs to do now. Of course,
and it's such an untapped market, isn't it? Like, we've seen Ali Abbas, who's Iraqi, come and play, but, you know, there's not a huge amount of Iraqis here in Australia.
And so he's not even one of the best players in Iraq. No. He's on the edge of the squad.
So, you know, if you look at these little countries which have a lot of migrants here in Australia from those places, you know, it's a great way to get things going with players from that region. And I think it's such an untapped market. We need more players who... We need to look away now from signing the 36 and 37-year-old European stars, okay, and look more towards how we're going to bolster the quality of the league by spending less and also attracting new fans.
Well, it's probably not spending less. It comes down to, obviously, I'll quickly come on to this. It's moving a bit of a segue, but they're talking about, you know, fans are annoyed that only Fox is showing the games. But Fox are the only ones that are putting money into the sport. The other channels are not. So people who don't have Foxtel, you must remember that Fox created basically the A-League.
Without Fox Sports, there's
no way that people would understand and watch enough football in this country if it wasn't for Fox Sports. So people that have a go at 7, 9 or 10, or just have a go at Fox Sports for showing it, Fox is the only reason why we have it. But with the new collective bargaining agreement and money that will be coming from Fox Sports, I think in the end we need to spend more. We can't be spending less as a country on this sport, because if we get those players, we look at Man City coming in, other clubs are looking to invest in clubs. If we can get that pushing forward, again we can push then in 2 or 3 years, 4 years to 12 teams, means more players. I think the problem would be stepping back from just going, let's only have 4 international players for more Aussies to get game time. The quality of the league has increased by having these internationals in, and I think from this Asian Cup, we've seen that the Aussies that come out of the A-League have actually performed a lot better than expected.
They have. And
this is the segue now to the Socceroos talk.
Well, I was actually just going to add in, just before we get into that you say all this stuff about Fox Sports, although now we've seen 10, 7 and 9 all come out in the last 2 or so weeks saying that they're keen to get the A-League, which could potentially mean that they want to host Asian Cups and stuff in the future and cover them themselves.
Then in the end, it could be a deal that we have like at the moment with the AFL, where Fox still show every game live, but then Channel 7 or 9 or 10
get 4 live a weekend.
Well, obviously it might only be 1 or 2 then, just because how many games are in the A-League. But the fans need to understand that the way the game will make more money is by more teams and more games on TV.
Yeah.
So by having even 2 more clubs means another game over the weekend, what means another could be $50 million into the pockets of clubs. So the more teams we get over time, it will be better for Australian football. So moving into now quickly Socceroos chat for the next couple of minutes. How did you find the group stage, Ellis, and were you content with what happened?
Content, but I don't think that we did anything that we weren't expected to do, because we beat 2 teams that we should be beating comfortably on home soil. The key obviously is the fact that we played really well in both of those games. We steamrolled both of those teams, especially the Oman game. That was probably the most flawless Socceroos performance I've seen.
I would actually put it down as, we forget the opponent, but nearly ever, I'd say. Of me watching the Socceroos, I haven't seen us dominate a side, and this doesn't matter if it's Brazil to Oman, for getting our 11 players on the pitch playing like they did. I haven't seen
literally no hiccups.
No, it was probably the first 5 minutes was the only hiccups that we had. But that Omani game. Now, going on, now obviously the players that he, not dropped, but rotated. We obviously know there's one day, in between games less than a World Cup. So, and the players, you don't want to have the same 11 playing 6 games over 18 days. It's never going to work. Pardon me. And are you happy with how he changed the front 3? And do you think in the end that was the right game to do it?
No, but I think given that there wasn't a whole lot riding on the game, there was, because now we probably will end up playing Japan in the semi-final. However, it was sort of a dead rubber, so if he was ever going to try it, better do it against Korea and go down and know that it didn't work as well as he might want it to, than doing it in a quarterfinal against China and having a major slip up, because that's probably going to cost him his job if that happens. So, I'm happy that he experimented, but not so happy in the way that it worked out, and the fact that now we're going to have to lock horns with Japan, probably 1 game ahead of what we wanted to.
The thing is, like most of us know, the winners will have to beat Japan.
Most
likely to come. If you're going to win the tournament, you have to beat Japan. But I think the one thing that's all right in the way that he did make those changes is Nathan Burns has been playing out of his skin. And he still was probably one of the better attackers in that game against Korea. Tommy Juric played very well in his 2 cameos and out of the A-League, and Troisi played well in the first game. So the players are in form. It's not like he's picking them for the sake of picking them.
No, Ange doesn't do that.
No, and I think in the end if we didn't have those players playing well, we'd probably have to play Timmy and Lackey and Cruz.
Which changes things a lot.
Yeah, so and the fact is those guys are going to need a break. So you're better off giving them a break now in that game. They played 20 minutes of intense football, but in the end, their legs had 70 minutes less, and they can get through those games later in the tournament if we have to go far. And we know what Juric and Burns look like now anyways, international footballers, and they really haven't put a foot wrong.
I think the only thing I've been disappointed about with Ange is something you'll agree with, and that's 3-0 up against Oman, bringing on Bresciano. Instead of, who's 34, his Socceroos career is behind him. Why would you not bring on a Terry Antonis or just an A-League youngster who's played really well and deserves a shot?
Actually, we'll use that now as our question of the week, guys. Do you think Ange made the wrong decision then to bring on Bresciano, and would have you liked to see someone else? We'll put a little poll below. If you just comment below yes or no, whether you would have brought Bresciano on or you would have liked to see a younger player come on. So the question will be in the description below, and just comment yes or no. In the end, I think, it's 100% true that we'd have liked to see someone else get a go. We know what Bresh can do. Would you start him, though, in this China game?
I don't think I would. I think it's best bringing him on 2-0 ahead. Just because he's going to add that little bit of spark and creativity. I don't think he's got it in him to play 90 minutes, and so I wouldn't be starting him. And China's an important game. They've been in form. I don't think they've dropped a game.
No, they haven't.
So it'll be really important to make sure we get a win.
Quickly, we'll go now, Vangeli. What's the team? So the back 4 of yours pretty much names itself. You'd say, with Wilkinson coming in for Sporanovic, because he's had the 2 yellow cards. Would you go with then the same team that played in the first game? So the key is Jedinak's back. Does he walk into your side?
Can I actually let you know something? I wouldn't bring Wilkinson in. I'm not so much a fan. I'd actually give Milligan a shot at centre back. I'd play Milligan in centre back, and then I'd bring Jedinak in, which is a like for like. Jedinak walks straight into defensive midfield, and Yeah. What else were you asking?
Yeah, well, no, but then you play Luongo and like Teresi as the midfield three, like they played in the first game. What created so much more going forward.
Yeah.
And especially in the second game also, and then have the front three of Cahill, Blakey, and Cruz.
I'd actually consider maybe not starting Cruz because of the fact that Cruz and Lecky are similar players, and against China you want a big man who's going to hold the ball up and wrestle his way through that defence, and so I'd consider playing Juric.
So then you'd have like, you're still sticking with the midfield three? But where does Timmy then play? That's the problem.
And maybe you'd bring Timmy off instead of Cruz, and you'd have Cruz and Lecky creating for Juric.
Okay. Now we'll move off the Socceroos, guys. So make sure you check out the Socceroos. It's in Adelaide time. It's 9 o'clock on Thursday. So
9 p.m.
9 p.m. Yeah, it's a weird time.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's 9 p.m.
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird.
What's going on there?
I have no idea.
Is it in Brisbane?
It is in Brisbane. So I think that's the problem with then it's daylight time because they don't have daylight savings or something up in Brisbane. So then actually it's 9:30 I think in the Eastern States. Yeah, it's weird because they've got a game on at 7:30. They don't want to be starting the quarterfinals at 5 like they've been doing with the other games.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's not Australia who chooses the times. Yeah. So now we're moving on to the EPL, guys. Another great weekend of EPL action. We'll start off though firstly with Manchester United's win over Queen's Park Rangers. My boys, I've got my jersey on right now. But we'll just go quickly through some weird tactics that Van Gaal had. If you're a Man United fan, please comment in the comment section below whether you liked his tactics. But he started Di Maria up front, Ellis, and played Rooney in the midfield. Bit weird.
Not so weird that he's put Rooney in midfield because Rooney's shown that he can play really well, especially centrally. But Di Maria up front is weird. I don't think I've ever seen that. So, but look, he's a weird kind of manager. Like, you know, he'll play weird tactics.
And he had Phil Jones taking corners.
Okay. Well, look, it's worked for him. They've won 2-0, but I think you were saying off camera they didn't have the best performance. And that's been the story of their season so far, hasn't it? Getting these vital wins that they weren't getting last season without dominating teams. Does
this remind you of the classic United back in the old days? We knew that when they'd win titles, they didn't play well a lot of the games,
especially against in the lesser profile games.
But they ended up getting results, and I think that's where we see clubs like Arsenal, Liverpool, and I'd even say Tottenham and Chelsea in some of those key games last season. They always show up for the big games against those lesser teams. It's those banana skins, and United always seem to get through those games.
Even the away ones, those tricky. They just get those 1-0s. You know, those clutch wins.
So quickly, I want to talk about Falcao. Obviously, he's an expensive signing. Obviously, only on loan, but they have the view to buy him next season. He had 3 exceptional chances on the weekend, missed them all. Hasn't been firing, and Van Gaal has come out and said that he really has to perform over the next 4 months, or he won't get a contract. Pardon me. And so, would you be keeping Falcao?
Well, I think from Falcao's point of view there, he might have even gone to United as an audition to bigger clubs out there. Maybe a Madrid or you know, a Juventus or something, just a bigger club, because United obviously had that hugely damaging season last season, and so you know, they're still, you know, they're rising up again, and so, you know, maybe Falcao's view was to get in there, play well, given that he's got so much support in that final third. But like you say, it has not gone his way. He hasn't been nestling the goals, and you know, he just hasn't been the same player since that injury, has he? No, which kept him out of the World Cup last year. So
I think the thing with him is obviously he was at Atletico, and he's come sort of out of nowhere later in his career. We all know about the classic memes that Aston Villa turned him down to sign Heskey about 6 or 7 years ago. Obviously he was a gun at Porto, went to Atletico. People forget Atletico paid 40 million for him as a replacement for for Aguero.
Oh,
they used the Aguero money straight up to buy him, and he played well for a year or two. Then goes to Monaco. Obviously, he's a money chaser, we'd think of that, but I don't know really where he can go after that, because maybe teams won't want him now that they know he's injury prone. Not scoring that much, it's obviously a risk, but at $250,000 a week, it's an expensive risk to take.
I can easily see him going back to Benfica or something. Just because if he's out of form and has huge wage demands, I can't imagine that he'd be on a small wage.
No.
It does show that you know, this might be a bit of a crossroads for him.
Yeah, well, the fact is he'll be turning 30, I think, soon. Quote me on that. It's roughly 29 or 30.
Yeah.
He's not obviously at the end of his career, but unless he's scoring goals, people won't pay his wages. So the idea is maybe he'll end up sitting at Monaco.
Yeah.
We don't know that.
And he's not a creator, he's a finisher, so
No,
you're going to sign him solely for the purpose of scoring.
Yeah. And we'll laugh at Monaco after they bought him, Rodriguez and stuff, and both of them left after one season. Now, quickly, Ellis, we'll go on to Liverpool, our boys, quickly. Again, a bit of a resurgence. Yep. You have to say it was a Aston Villa at those games, like we were saying.
Smash and grab win.
Smash and grab win, but wins that we need.
Yeah, of course. And look, it's been good. It's been good. Certainly not playing with. Well, look. Let me say this: they are playing with the type of tempo we want to see. Whereas in the beginning of the season, we were very slow. A lot of back passes. Little creativity up forward. Now there seems to be that same sort of tempo that we're playing, which we were playing when we had Suarez spearheading our attack last season. However, you know, we haven't had the hardest one.
No.
Villa have been absolute garbage at home.
They've had a very good defensive record, though. I think it's in the top 5 or the top 8 of the league.
Okay.
So for thinking of a team lower down, they haven't conceded a lot of goals. So I think that is
the key, though, will be getting a convincing win at home to West Ham, which I think is our next fixture, and then from that point on, it doesn't look like we're going to sign anyone. No. We're just going to have to, you know, I don't care personally about the cups. I don't care about the big games in the EPL. I just want us to get these vital little wins and hope that United's, Tottenham's of the world are going to slip up, because I don't see us having to rely on beating those teams in order to jump them. I think the only way it's going to happen is by us being consistent against teams that we should be beating and hoping they slip up.
Well, I think we're now at 9 games unbeaten in the league, or 8. Well, it's just important anyway that we're continuing that. But we're collecting points now, and I think we can see Barini's got a goal now. Lambert's got a goal. Players are playing with more confidence now. I mean, look at Skirtle's made even our team of the week. He played well. Emre Can's playing well. And Gerrard didn't play in this game. And I know we've talked about this a lot. And basically every Liverpool supporters group has talked about how we played better without Gerrard. And I think we can see now Henderson's suiting more that role in the middle, not the wing back. Markovic is playing a little bit better. So I think the idea is now the team's growing. And I think if we even say last year we started well, but if we start seasons better, and this has always been our problem, is teams taking a while to gel, we always seem to end off quite well. So I think in the end, hopefully we continue with this and we can get top 4. But more important is we're getting the wins.
It will be nice to get a win at Everton in 2 weeks as well, which is going to be a huge game.
Well, the Chelsea game was this morning, and obviously because we've filmed the day before, we don't know the result. Obviously it's the first leg, so hopefully that we can continue on. And if we make the League Cup final, a trophy is a trophy, and again, it's just another bit of silverware that we won in the locker. Now, Ellis, I didn't see this result yesterday, but I saw the result, but not what happened. Can you tell us what happened in the Everton draw and sort of where they've been going lately?
Everton languishing hugely, which I certainly didn't see coming. Although I have the view that if they had made the top 4 last season, things would be very different, which they should have. They would have signed better players, more money. However, things just haven't clicked for them at all this season, and they had an important game on Tuesday morning against West Bromwich Albion, which they needed to win in order to keep some kind of pace with the view of making like Europa League at least. Well,
that's out the window now, we'd have to say.
Even Europa League? Is it the top 6th or even 7th? It gets to qualify, doesn't it?
Well, how it happens, obviously top 4 get Champions League, and then the 5th gets Europa League, and then the winner of 6th, or the winner of the FA Cup gets 6th. League Cups gets Europa League, but normally, obviously, a top 4 team normally wins both, so then it goes to 6th or 7th place team. Hopefully, I explained that correctly, but yeah, it's normally because the top 4 wins either tournament, that then the Europa League positions go to 6th and 7th.
Well, what happened in any case was that they hosted West Brom at Goodison, needed to win, got themselves a penalty, and for some reason, which I don't think anyone will ever know, Roberto Martinez ordered Morales to take the penalty for Everton when he was carrying an injury, and when the regular penalty taker in Leighton Baines, who's pretty damn reliable, was not carrying an injury. Instead, Baines backed off, Morales took the stop kick, hit the post, and then got dragged straight after, and Everton have gone on to draw 0-0, which is a bizarre turn of events, really. Martinez got a lot of explaining to do there, as he does for their regular form in the league, which has been poor. I really don't know what's going on, because they were really firing last season, especially with Lukaku. A lot of people were saying maybe he wasn't worth 28 million in the end. I disagree. I thought he was because he really spearheaded them last season. But as for their form, I can't explain it. Morales wants out apparently, which is going to be hugely damaging for them if they lose him.
The one thing I was going to say about Lukaku, even the years he's done very well, he's obviously been trying to prove a point. Obviously when he was at West Brom in that Everton year last year, they was trying to prove to Mourinho that he was worth the money. He should be staying for Chelsea. Do you think now, because he's got a contract for 4 years, Everton now, he's in his niche now,
he's
not sat back, but he doesn't have to prove anything to anyone now. He knows that he's the main man now. Eto's on his way out. He's not happy, so I reckon now sort of that season for Lukaku now, sort of not the old like second season syndrome sort of thing where he's just sort of chilling at the moment, and he needs to now know that I'm this man for this club. They could have bought 4 players with this money. I've got to score 15 goals. So I think in the end it's going to be just interesting to see if Lukaku can take it to that next step, because his talent deserves to be at a top club in the world.
Sure, of course, but I mean at the same time you can't lay it all on him.
No.
Just because he's a non-typical expensive Everton signing. All these other players who were driving them along last season just haven't really hit that next gear this season, and it certainly throws questions as to whether, although it's a bigger epidemic as to what's happened to Liverpool. Basically, Rodgers and Martinez both had fantastic seasons, both very similar managers, both played a part in the resurgence of Swansea City. And now they're both experiencing far less satisfying seasons. Well,
I reckon again it comes down to that second season syndrome, trying to live up to the year before. And
you could say he overachieved in his first season.
Martinez, I think I like the guy, and again, but we have to look like, if you're going off a stats base, obviously never finishing above 15th in the Premier League, and that's where I think this year, if he somehow, it'll be interesting to see if he can turn it, because these have been the sort of run of results that Wigan used to have, and he couldn't get them out of the rut, and that's when he'd then go back to like the 3 at the back to stop leaking goals. We'd play a bit more long. He'd go away from his normal passing style to try and find the results, but it'll be interesting. So now, Ellis, we move to the famous, or the first, EPL Team of the Week from the Bounce accounts. Please be sure to check out our Facebook page, guys. Remember, www.facebook.com/bounce accounts. Please give it a like. Each week we'll be having the Team of the Week. Please comment on a Monday. We release a photo, and you have to put your Team of the Week in there, and then that helps us decide who we put in our Team of the Week. So in goals this week, Ellis, we'll have this up on the screen right now. We have De Gea, a great performance. Obviously they didn't concede, and he kept them in it with a number of excellent saves.
Probably been their best player this season.
Yeah. Funnily enough, stat though, he has the same amount of clean sheets as Mignolet.
Mignolet.
Yeah. If you're putting on stats, it's very interesting, because there's obviously been chat about De Gea going.
Yeah, look, you can look. No, stats don't tell the full story.
I know stats don't tell the full story, but if you're going off stats, it's an interesting one.
Oh, yeah.
We've gone with a back 3 now, guys. After Cahill, Ivanovic, and Skirtle. As 3 centre-backs. Very solid. Obviously, Chelsea had the 5-0 win over Swansea. This team has a lot of Chelsea in it.
That's away as well.
Yeah. They've been exceptional. Then we're going with a midfield 4 with a sort of attacking midfielder in and behind. We've got Ilya in his first game for Southampton, scored 2 goals against Newcastle. The guy's really never lived up to potential, I have to say, Alice.
No.
Obviously, Netherlands kid. He's actually 27 now, so it's obviously been talk for years that he was going to make it in the big time, but he's sort of struggled to live up to the potential. In the midfield, we've got the Chelsea pairing of Fabregas and Oscar. People were not happy they didn't make the team last week that we did, but again, we're both excellent.
My Oscar is a talent, isn't he? Well, and Fabregas doesn't matter, but we know what Fabregas is all about. Oscar, though, has just been...
You can see how, obviously, in the World Cup, he was the only player to start every game for Brazil. And when you do that, especially in a country, a team like Brazil, he's got obviously been excellent talent, and he's finally living up to potential. There's obviously a lot of Brazilian kids that come out of the Brazilian league, and he's really finally showing what he can do. Next on the left, we've got Jason Puncheon from Crystal Palace. We didn't talk about...
Puts in a good shift.
It does, and he scored, I think it was the 2nd goal in that game, and they come from behind in the massive 6-pointer.
Tough game. Tough place to come.
Away from home, 2-0 down against Burnley, and I think for me that shows Burnley won't be staying up. I think that's the nail in the coffin there, and a 6-pointer like that at home, 2-0 up. That's really got to be on the... I don't even know if that's on the manager, Ellis, if that's like that result. In the end, you've got them 2-0 up, and the players have really faltered.
I mean, they just don't have the squad capable of staying up. It doesn't matter who's. It's one of those situations where it doesn't matter who's managing. You know, forget about the influence on the sideline. It's if you don't have the team capable of staying up, then you have to wonder why whoever owns that club hasn't invested a bit more. I mean, you want to stay in the top flight. It means so much. There's such a huge gap in between Premier League status and Championship status. You know, it's just mind-boggling as to why you wouldn't want to do everything in your power.
The problem is,
to get in the squad.
Obviously, take this from my years as a Wolverhampton Wanderers fan, that you really need to consolidate. I reckon nearly to a Stoke City for. You're really trying to consolidate for 2 years in the Premier League,
and toss up between playing a marketable, you know, decent style of football that's going to attract neutral fans, or just playing the same thing every year of defence. You know, just solid at home, etc., which guarantees that you're going to finish between 13th and 16th.
The idea, I think, is a couple of years of consolidating, then you can attract players, but pardon me, basically those clubs are only attracting the best Championship players without Premier League experience, or Premier League players who have been relegated, who have come down. And you look at Burnley, I think they've even got Stephen Ward, Jones and Kitely, who are all ex-Wolves players, who weren't up to scratch when they got relegated, but they've come and picked them back up.
You need. I don't want to quote Ned Zilic, but you need a bit of individual brilliance. And when there's none in the team, you can't expect to stay up. And
then in the hole there, with CAM, we've got Ericsson, excellent player for Tottenham, probably been their best player this year. Scored a ripper goal on the 87th minute.
I'm happy that he's tossed the shackles of being, you know, an overpriced Euro flop. Because
we always know he was going to be good, but he's finally living up to potential. Up front, we have the pairing of Dwight Gale and Diego Costa. So obviously Gale scored a double. He's been an exceptional talent for them. Obviously he was playing like League 2 or 3 years ago, and he's making the jump. And then we know how good Costa is. Just scores goals for fun. And whoever was keeping for Swansea, I didn't think some of those shots were that hard that they had to save.
Well, I didn't watch the game, but to lose 5-0 at home, and I'm pretty sure it was 3-0 in like 20 minutes. Yeah,
well, I think it was not even 4, not much after. But our player of the week, Ellis, goes to Fabregas, just pulling the strings. I think he's up to nearly 15 assists. 22
only ever player to get 15 assists in 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I think I read this morning. So.
Well, the highest last year was Gerrard after 38 games, so he's got 15 after 22. And only 4 players have got over 15 in a season. So, I know, Ellis, I'm going to ask you a question right now, and this is the fans also, guys, another question for the week. Do you think he'll be over or under 22 assists for the season, Fabregas?
I haven't seen their run, but I think at this rate he'll probably hit 22.
Yeah, he'll be over. Yeah, I'm going to say over 22 there, definitely. Okay, now, Vangelli, we're moving. Obviously, it's transfer season. The best part of the year in January, so it's
already fairly through it. Fair way through now.
Oh, we are, but this is obviously my favourite part of the year.
Lots of talk, but a huge lack of activity. Really.
Oh, but we always know that January the activity
doesn't
happens.
live up to it.
Oh, on the last day.
Liverpool of 2012, 13.
Yeah. Oh, everything happens on the last day. We all know that. Why don't the guys get on the front foot and make the signings early? It'd just be so much easier. But again, obviously, teams are, if a player's leaving, they're trying to sign someone to come in. There's a lot of work that has to go into January. But obviously, today some news has come out. It's obviously just speculation, but we're going to start here. I've just made a list of 5 or 6 different transfer rumours. Ellis, I'm going to get you to buy or sell them. And guys, in the comment section below, or on Facebook, we're doing it. There's a couple of pictures.
Do I have to give a reason or just
buy or sell and a 1-sentence reason? Okay, Benzema to Liverpool for 40 million.
I'm going to buy it because I've been hearing so much of it. Liverpool needs someone that isn't injury prone all the time and can put away goals.
Yep. The only reason I actually buy it, it's a bit of a 50-50, is just because, this app is not working now, is just because obviously there's talk that, was it Royce coming in at Madrid, and Bale leaving also, so I think there's a bit of movement coming on there at Real Madrid. Oh god. So I think it'll be interesting to see what goes on there, and I think they need to free up a bit more cash. Benzema is not at the end of his career on that sort of way, but he's not scoring as much for Madrid now, so I think it's time for a bit.
And given that there's all this spotlight on Madrid now being the best team in the world, you've got to ask whether Benzema's the man to keep that going, or to do like a Fabregas and come and score goals in England. Okay,
that's a longer than 1 sentence we both had then. Origi staying put at Lille.
Sell, because I keep hearing that
he'll be back.
Liverpool are very desperate, and it's the easiest transfer that they can make right now because they own the player.
I'm going to buy it that he's staying put. We have seen that Sturridge is obviously coming back soon. Maybe the fact that Barini and Lambert have scored a goal now, but it might just be easier because I think the thing that us Liverpool fans want, this is a very long sentence, is we don't want Origi to come back and sit on the bench. We want him to play, so I think maybe staying at Lille is probably better for his development. Then we're moving into now. Do you buy or sell Kevin Morales moving to either Dortmund or Atletico Madrid?
Buy probably because Everton are doing poorly. He's clearly better than Everton's standard, and you know he's a world-class player. So yeah, I will buy him leaving.
I'd buy him leaving too. I think it's time that he moves on. He's too good for him, and if they were obviously higher up and pushing for Europe, he'd be fine. But the fact is, they're not going to be in Europe next year, and he wants to obviously be playing in the Champions League. He's even been quoted saying that too. Swansea have put in a $4 million bid for Norwich defender Martin Olsen, and the Canaries are considering granting the 26-year-old a return to the Premier League. Buy or sell? For both clubs.
I'm going to sell because of the fact that if you're Swansea, you need to be doing better defensively than they are, and which means signing a player that's not in the Championship. And the other thing is that Norwich would want to hold on to whoever they've got because they're making a pretty decent push to get back into the Premier League. So sell for me.
I reckon it's an interesting one because I think in the end, if you can get that amount of money for a player, I think that's an excellent use. To get that amount of money for that sort of a player, but I think in the end it's not the right signing for Swansea. No. But again, if you are Norwich, getting $4 million for a player like that, maybe investing in one or two other players in the Championship who are playing well,
doesn't seem like a huge amount of money.
Yeah, but for a Championship club that is. But I don't know. So Tottenham flop Roberto Soldado is a target of German outfit Bayer Leverkusen. Opinions?
Probably buy. I mean, you know, he did well in Spain.
Yeah, he was in Spain, correct.
So, you know, a move to a different league. So there's probably more similarities in between the... I don't know, actually, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say there's more similarities between the German and Spanish leagues than there is in the Premier League. Yeah. So, you know, a change of setting might be the ideal career move for Soldado, so I'm going to buy.
And finally, guys, we have here another one. Crystal Palace increased the offer for Swansea fullback Neil Taylor to $4.5 million. That might actually bring a bit of a link to that other rumour we just had. That maybe it's a like-for-like swap.
Maybe. Therefore, I'll say buy.
Yeah, you've switched it now. Finally, we'll just say that Man United deny making a $27 million bid for Valencia centre-back Nicolas Otamendi.
Yeah, he's not a bad signing. I would buy that.
But again, this is a sort of a question that we asked you guys again. Man City obviously signing Mangala for an expensive price.
Well, it's nearly twice as much that they paid for Mangala.
Yeah, I think it was just around, just above 30. But there's other better centre backs, I reckon, anyway, for a bit cheaper price, especially after the World Cup. So I think a lot of these clubs are making massive moves for guys when you can probably find a better player for probably a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, true.
The final one I've got, actually talking about centre backs, is West Ham's Winston Reid, who's out of contract at the end of the season. Makes it clear he wants Arsenal to move if they bid this month. This, from an Arsenal point of view, before I go to the West Ham point of view, do you bid this month, or you know he wants to come to you next transfer window? Do you make the bid, or do you wait for him to come on a free?
I'd make the bid because it's not going to be that much if he's out of contract, and the fact is you want to secure him.
Yeah.
You know, a much bigger club, a Liverpool could come around, a Tottenham could come around and offer him a lot more money and just make that little game-changing decision for him. Fantastic player as well, who's very underrated. Underrated because of the fact that he's from New Zealand. Just like Ryan Nelson used to be, who captained Blackburn. He was a fantastic player, but never used to get, you know, all the raps that a fantastic...
Just a hard-nosed defender. But then, now, finally, from West Ham's point of view, do you make the sale now, or do you wait for him out of contract?
From West Ham's point of view, I'd be trying to hold on to him because they want to finish as high up as they can, and they were in the top 4 maybe a month or so ago, and they've slipped off now. So yeah, if I was Sam Allardyce, I'd definitely be wanting to keep him, but yeah, that may not be up to them. Okay then, Ellis, and that's the end of the transfer roundup right now, guys. If you see any other
transfer news or anything that interests you, please comment and message us on Facebook or on Twitter, where both of our Twitters are now here, and also the Bounce That Counts one is below right now. Now guys, how have you enjoyed the little new graphic we've got around the edge of the screen? Hope it's a bit more enjoyable for you, a bit more things to look at. Also now guys, quickly, there's a couple of viewer questions that we've got sent in here from Twitter. At J_Mac73 has written to us saying that Arsenal have rewarded Francis Coquelin with a 3-year contract. Do you think that's a good move for Arsenal? And should they be looking a bit more outside the box and signing someone, I know, more of a bigger name? Ellis, what do you think?
I'm not sure. I can't come up with an answer for you.
My opinion is, obviously Coquelin has been playing well over the last couple of games, and it's good to reward him with a new 3-year contract, but I think, as a lot of my Arsenal fan friends would say, it's time to sign someone big name to be a bit more of a poster boy in that centre of midfield. Try and find another Vieira instead of just finding someone from the youth team. Obviously Arsenal have a great youth team. It's good they're promoting younger players through, but it's time Arsenal spend some money. Obviously I don't want you to, but it's time, if you're a fan of them, spend some money and bring in a proper defensive midfielder.
It's just not the Arsenal way though, is it?
No, I know it's not.
Arsenal would rather create his own talent than buy it. So
underscore, this is a very generic Liverpool Twitter handle here. At LFC_97 has sent us here, talking obviously about our Liverpool's goalkeeper situation, but Quatar and Cech are obviously number ones at Chelsea. Do you think it's time for Cech to leave, Ellis?
I don't see why you try and sign a keeper who's starting every week, who's still in the league of being considered a...
Well, Cech has 4 clean sheets in his 4 games he's played this year.
Yeah, could put that down to the fact that Chelsea just steamroll everyone, but we know Cech's a fantastic keeper, and it's not like he's going to be that expensive. Maybe in terms of his wages, but a fee from Chelsea, you would not expect them to demand heaps of money if they've got Courtois. So I would say, definitely go try and find it.
And I think it's a great move for whatever club does try and find him and sign him. But in the end, you don't need 2 number ones, and Cech will obviously want to keep playing soon. And we know goalkeepers, if you end up paying 10 million, I think, I'd even say 15 is a reasonable fee for Cech. You've still got him for 5 or 6 years.
I think 15 is probably a bit much. Really.
No, but when you think of he's only 32. It's ridiculous.
But if they've got but 32, and the fact is that they've got a young keeper that they could hold on to for the next 10 years. So,
I know, but in the end, if you want to find a keeper that you know will keep you... if you put it into the same example of like Van der Sar when United signed him, obviously they didn't pay that much, but you're getting a guy with Premier League experience who is still good enough to play for a top 4.
I'd offer 7 or 8 plus Mignolet.
Why would they take Mignolet? And I don't think Mignolet would go there. In the end, guys, thank you for watching this episode of the Bounce That Counts FC. It's good to be back, Ellis.
It is very good.
Remember, guys, please comment on the Facebook page. All the things we have on there, especially the team of the week. Also remember that this episode will be out at 8 PM roughly Australian Central Time on YouTube, so please check it out there. Obviously you are right now, but every week on Wednesday at that time. Monday and Friday we'll have the podcast, will be live on iTunes at 8 PM every week, so please check that out, download it, listen to us at the gym or in the car, or just if you don't want to look at our beautiful faces, you can just hear our beautiful voices. But hopefully you've enjoyed this episode of the Bounce Accounts. Please check out our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, website, www.thebounceaccounts.com, and then all the stuff is in the description below. Thank you for joining me, Van Gogh.
Thank you.
If we have any other guests on, we will tell you about them. If you want anyone that you like on here that you've seen before, please comment and we'll get that person back on. But hopefully you guys enjoy the new format of the Bounce Accounts Football Club. If you have any other questions, remember just to tweet them to us or on the Facebook page, and we'll get back to you. Cheers, guys, and we'll see you on Friday.
Thanks, guys.
Ta-da.